Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rutherford County School Work Session. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, which I get the honor tonight.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Look down on your agenda there, number 4, approval of the agenda. Anybody want anything moved? If not, we'll move on to number 5, approval of consent agenda. One change. If you look down your list there, or it gets to G, routine bids, the very first thing, synthetic turf, Blackman High. I'll table that for now. The rest of it will remain the way it is. If anybody want anything else moved? Okay, if not, we'll go over to, of course, our pages aren't numbered. How can I find anything if our pages aren't numbered? I'm lost. Visitors and no visitors tonight. Recognition, and our director and Spurlock, welcome to you, sir.
Well,
and this is your first item for the new director.
Absolutely. Okay, first item up here. Project updates.
Good evening, Board. First item up, Rocky Fork Elementary. Contract has been awarded. Grading has begun. And Middle Tennessee Electric has completed the first new phase of the first power grid. Rockville High School, grading is 95% complete on the athletic fields and concrete work is well underway. The contractor is planning to have all ball fields sprigged this fall, so we'll have a full season of grow-in, be ready for next year. Work is progressing well on the building itself. Work is continuing on the second floor classroom area with roof trusses underway on the north and south ends. Final roofing has begun over the cafeteria, CTE wing, and the gyms. The new sewer line extension for Rockville Elementary was actually completed today. We still have some seed and straw to do, but we are tied in. We're no longer on the pump system out there, so we're down to 2 in the system. Oakland Middle School Annex. The slab on grade for all additions is now complete. Exterior walls are complete on the new dining addition and up to the second floor level on the main addition. Bar joist installation is complete for the second floor. In addition here, the contractors made good progress over the weekend. They're going to try and pour half the second floor on Thursday of this week. Brickwork is underway and making good progress. The geothermal well operation across the street is about 75% complete. Smyrna Middle School addition, the state fire marshal has granted a temporary CO for the new construction pending the installation of some additional doors that they requested. Those doors are supposed to be in town tomorrow and should be completed by the end of the week. The general contractor has completed the initial scope of work and is waiting on these new doors. And then we're scheduled to have the state fire marshal back on July the 25th, and this will be our final inspection there. That's all we lack. Siegel High School addition, the masonry contractors completed the load-bearing masonry block for the project, is currently laying brick. The exterior of the science lecture and art hall. The exterior brick has been completed on the classroom area. Spray fireproofing has been completed in the classroom areas between the first and second floor. Once the roofing is completed over the science lecture art room area, this area will be fireproofed prior to final installation of ductwork and electrical services overhead. The roofing contractor is presently roofing the science and lecture hall art room area and should be completed with this area by the end of the month. The lightweight truss installation is 50% complete on the classroom area. The HVAC contractor is currently finishing up the installation of the new chill water lines and has made their tie-ins located in the main building and moving toward the new classroom addition. They are installing the supply and return duct in the classroom area. Central Magnet School HVAC. The HVAC contractor has completed the installation of the roof curbs, and the HVAC units have been set on the roof. The contractor is currently finishing up the installation of the ductwork above ceiling, and they're slated to reinstall the ceiling prior to classes beginning on July 23rd. Riverdale High School re-roof. The roofing contractor has completed the re-roof of M, K, and L buildings and will be completed with the main building by the end of July, weather permitting. The gymnasium roof will be the last area to be roofed. The complex re-roofing should be completed by the end of July, 1st of August. Central Magnet School re-roof. The contractor has completed the removal of the gravel from the roof surface in preparation for installing the Densdeck material and EPDM. The contractor will begin re-roof once they complete the final building at Riverdale. Central Magnet additional parking area. We held a pre-con meeting on July 6th for preparation for this work to begin. The contractor's survey crew was on site the 9th in preparation for installation of the silt fence on July 10th, which they did get completed. The contractor will begin the excavation of topsoil and begin preparing grade for proof roll. We've added this time, only thing we're new project, the entrance from Highway 99 to the Eagleville School. We anticipate that starting construction by October the 1st.
Board? Questions for Mr. Lee? Part B, Mr. Director.
All right, Siegel Middle School, Principal Kim Stoker has requested permission to build a 12-foot by 20-foot metal storage building with concrete slab. This structure will be located inside the practice field fence in the southwest corner. The structure will be similar to the one already erected on site. Siegel will be responsible for applying for all permits and funding provided by the Siegel Middle football account. Funds to be available before construction starts. Estimated cost for the project is approximately $3,000. The concrete slab has been donated. Engineering and construction has reviewed this project and recommends approval.
Questions, Board? Part C.
Siegel Middle School. Principal Kim Stoker has requested permission to build a 20-foot by 66-foot addition to the existing baseball building. The building addition will match all existing structures. Appropriate permits will be applied for, and funding will be provided by Siegel Middle School boosters. All funding to be available prior to the starting of construction. Estimated budget for the project is $19,000. Engineering and construction has reviewed this project and recommends approval.
Board? Part D.
Blackman Middle School. Engineering and construction would like to proceed with the demolition of the wrestling building that burned. Bids have been solicited for the 3 contractors, 2 of those being no bids. Engineering would like to award the demolition to Demo Plus for a cost of $18,900.
Board?
That money will come from the insurance settlement.
Correct.
Anything else? Part E.
Rocky Fork Elementary. R.G. Anderson contacted Engineering and Construction to notify us that Waller Masonry has withdrawn their bid. They've requested to move to the next bidder, which is R.G. Masonry. This is an increase of cost of $400,000. This increase is within our budget, and R.G. Anderson will still be the low bidder. Engineering and Construction has discussed this matter with R.G. Anderson and recommends adding $200,000 to the contract through a change order now, and the other $200,000 be provided through any savings from the project at the end of the construction. Should there be no savings, no additional funds will be added. Okay, what happened there was the Waller came back with a bid of $3.1 million, and approximately on the last, I think it was the last of June, they notified R.G. Anderson that they were withdrawing their bid due to lack of personnel. And the next lowest bidder was R.G. Masonry, which is no relation to R.G. Anderson. You know, we've been working for R.G. Anderson for a lot of times. They've done real well with us, and that being the lowest bid, we recommend that we go with them. Of course, we'll be making that motion tomorrow, but I'm just setting that all up. Mr. Lee, would you like to add anything further to this? What we're doing in the future to be proactive in situations like this?
Unfortunately, this is one of those things that kind of get you in the construction industry. Our subcontractors, when they bid, the general contractors really have no liability if they pull their bid after it started. It's kind of one of the dangers of being a general contractor out there. The only recourse that R.G. Anderson has against Waller is, number one, they, you know, of course, they're probably not going to use them if they bid them anymore, but we have requested that they file a grievance with the state licensing board, and R.G. Anderson has agreed to do so. So they are going to file a grievance with the masonry licensing board, which is really their only recourse. We do pre-qualify for mechanical, electrical, HVAC, and roofing. We are going to add a caveat for the next 3 to 5 years that Waller Masonry is not allowed to bid our work. We can add that to our specifications. May not make us feel any better. We don't have any recourse to go after them, but at least that way we have shown that, you know, we're serious about what we do and take them off our bid list.
Further questions, board?
It looks like the recommended approval is, in essence, splitting the cost between Rutherford County Schools and R.G. Anderson. Is that an accurate depiction?
Well, yes, on the front end, we agreed that what we're requesting is to add $200,000 now. Should R.G. Anderson be able to save money through the project that they would give back to us, that we would allocate $200,000 at the end, but if we're not to save any money, then $200,000 would be all they would get. If we are to achieve savings at the end of the job, then up to $200,000 we would allocate to them, I guess, as a reward or to get their money back. They also have provided this $400,000 at no profit. This is actually just the cost. If they'd have had this in their bid, of course their bid would have had profit on it. They're not asking for that. And they have been a good contractor to work with.
Board? What if?
Lease from the City of Eagleville for practice field. The Board of Education had previously leased an area owned by Craig Sewell for a practice field for Eagleville High School under no rent lease. The City of Eagleville now owns the parcel and is willing to lease it to the Board of Education at no rent. The lease can be terminated by either party upon giving the other 30 days advance written notice. A copy of the proposed lease is attached.
Board?
I talked to Mr. Tollett, and this is basically for need, if any. They don't have anything that I'm aware of that they especially will use this for every day, but if another area is taken up by band or another practice team, this is available for their use.
Questions, board? What now?
All right, under federal matters, we will table the federal projects financial update from Ms. Williams to tomorrow to save her voice. I think she's got some laryngitis going on.
For information only. Want to read that?
Insurance update, Dr. Anthony.
Yes, our next meeting will be at the end of August. They did cancel the summer meeting.
All right, director's update on director's goals. Within the contract of the director of schools, it states that within 60 days that goals for the director, which are actually goals for the district that the director is accountable for, will be presented to the board. We're in the process of working with those goals. We're using everyone in the district office to work and produce these goals. I will tell you some of them will be aligned with our E-plan strategic goals that we currently have, and there will be others to be added. I will point out, however, in the contract it also states that the Board of Education, with the direction of the Director of Schools, can develop their own goals annually. Safety School Grant. Or I guess you want to ask any questions on that one? All right, Safety School Grant update. Currently, we did receive somewhere around $1.15 million of non-reoccurring funding from the state for safety schools. With the addition of the $1 million that we got from capital outlay, we do have somewhere around $2.15 million to start our process. We have received the survey back from the state, which we already had the information available. I will tell you that we'll be addressing those areas from highest priority down to lowest priority as we work through. The first thing that we'll be doing, 90-something% of our schools had this issue that we'll be addressing that I can't tell you, but you'll know what it is once we talk about it further. But we'll be addressing that along with another area. So there's two areas that we're going to be addressing. Now, the state did increase our reoccurring funding, and I think we went from 206,000 to about 440,000. That's reoccurring annually, and of course that will be used as we go forward to provide other areas on our priority list that was listed according to the survey. As I look through this, I just will make everyone aware of this, and I think when we had our safety meeting that was discussed, 424,000 will not do everything that we need to do. We will probably need, we will probably need to discuss the matter with our commissioners. I think in the meeting that we had earlier this spring, it was brought up perhaps maybe allocating some funding for safe schools. And for us to do everything on that list in a judicious way, making sure that we address those things, is going to require more than what we're getting in reoccurring funding. So that may be something we will have to address in the future soon.
Mr. Spurlock, question
Yes, ma'am.
on the recurring funding. That's all coming from the state, right?
It is coming from the state.
Do we, and we may have talked about this before, but do we as a board, do we have autonomy as to how that money gets spent, or has the state placed guidelines or caveats on how it has to be spent or where?
It does have to be spent in on our safety schools,
Right.
which also includes some other things that we will probably need to address in terms of student services, which we're currently using some of that funding. There is and I've discussed this with Mr. Sandvig, there's probably going to be a request and a budgetary item to remove a funding for one personnel to the GP in order to release some more funding, so that we're keeping that, as we go by, because we use that more than just in various areas. Now, the student services is the safety part of it. It's your atlas and things of that nature that we're required to do.
Further questions?
The report that was put together, would it be shared with the board at some point in the future?
Absolutely.
Okay, any timeline on that? I mean, because we have that in-house now, right?
We do have it in-house.
Okay.
Okay, we can share that.
We have for information only on number 10. Is that on yours?
I do not have that. Okay, information only, yes, sir.
Probably need to read it.
I need to read this.
Stay within
Okay.
the lines of the law.
Yes, it wasn't on here, but it's right here. I'm thinking this is what it is. First of all, this is over policy 1.108, nepotism. Let me start off by prefacing what I'm going to say is, as I read the policy, it does not require this. However, I'm going to make this because it was requested of me. Sarah Beth Young is employed by the Rutherford County Board of Education as a science teacher at Oakland High School.
There's one more.
That's, I discussed this with Ms. Michaels, it's done.
Okay? Okay. Board, if any questions here before we get into the TLN? Ms. Moore, anything to report tonight, or are you waiting for tomorrow night?
I'll wait for tomorrow night, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Holliday?
Significant at the federal level is that both of the appropriations bills that are working through Congress for fiscal year 2019 show $0 recommended by the administration for Title II funding, and yet full funding at $2.056 billion recommended by both the Senate Appropriations Committee and the House Appropriations Committee for Title II funding. So Title II continues to be something that is debated as to whether or not it is valuable. Of course, here in Rutherford County, we know for strong evidence that Title II funding, continuing education of our teachers and the professional learning community is a big reason why we're successful. So continue to, if you interact with federal folks, let them know that Title II funding is important.
Thank you, Mr. Holliday. Any comments for Ms. Moore or Mr. Holliday? General discussion by board members. I do have a question on a topic, and Ms. Moore, you may want to go into this tomorrow night, or you may want to find out, and maybe I should have found out. But the legislation on the "In God We Trust" sign, that passed, did it not? And now I heard this on the news, which does not make it written in stone. I'm aware of that. But I don't think, if the news report was correct, I don't believe that putting it on our signs out front in little letters or whatever that we were, I think, going to do, are we not? That Mr. Pettis-Reed was, I think that's going to happen. Putting it there is not going to work if the news was correct. And I think it has to be seen by all students, and I don't think they sit in the building necessarily. And I'm not really advocating anything. I'm just, obviously we've got to meet the law. Whatever the law says, we've got to do that. And I think we did discuss that briefly, did we not? That just when you walk in the building, you got a sign. But I don't know.
My recollection was that we discussed it in I don't know if it's the American Legion or the Knights of Columbus. There's a wall in many of our schools that has historic documents, and that we discussed previously in a board meeting about the appropriateness that the national motto may fit in connection with those historic documents.
I believe we brought that up in our last meeting or the meeting before last. Yes, I believe we did. Mr. Blair.
An opinion from Mr. Reed?
Well, I think the separate sign is safer, because if we do the security sign and we have the "In God We Trust" on the security sign, if for some reason we have to change it later on or take it down, we would have to take down all the security signs. So I think the safer course of action is to have a separate sign for "In God We Trust." That way, if there's other changes or anything comes up in regards to it, we can make the changes we need to without replacing all the security signs.
And the verbiage of the legislation simply says that it must be displayed in a prominent location.
Correct.
And
prominent
so
location.
we have some leeway there as to where that might be.
Correct.
One sign per school, as far as we know?
Yes.
Well, cafeteria, the library, or, as you say, the shrine, Freedom Shrine, all of that would, seem like to me, would meet the criteria, but we need to find out what the criteria is, Ms. Moore.
Research that a little bit more, make
you know,
sure I have answers
Right,
tomorrow.
we don't want to undo it. General discussion by board members. We're on number 14. Anything else?
Mr. Evans and Mr. Cartwright were recognized for, they had an award-winning situation, did they not, with the website? And did I see that just a couple of weeks or so ago? But, you know, I think it would be appropriate for the board to, maybe tomorrow night, to congratulate them on winning those awards. I remember that we had a lot of discussion about adding Mr. Cartwright to the team, so we would have a better opportunity to let our light shine, and certainly together they have done that.
All right, I think it's at a conference. He's, pardon? Yeah, today. I don't know if he'll be back tomorrow night or not, but we'll need to find out, I guess.
Even if it's not tomorrow night, maybe
Right.
sometime at a board meeting that we congratulate them and make their awards notable.
Board? Any further comments or discussion? Ms. Michaels, is there anything else that you need from us? It's a busy week. Are we okay? And we've got our dates down for our our August meetings. So, okay. All right. Anything else, board? I feel adjournment sneaking up on us here. It's just seconds away.
I think this entire table is anxious for that, to be honest.
Ms. Bush hasn't gotten up yet, but she's all but gotten up. Thank you so much. We're adjourned.